Shalom and welcome in. So today I just wanted to go through Deuteronomy 12 and give you guys some insight of what Ahaya has shown me. So without further ado, we're just going to get into it. And this is from Deuteronomy chapter 12 out of the JPS Tanakh. And it reads, "These are the laws and rules that you must carefully observe in the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, is giving you to possess as long as you live on earth." All right. So we know the Most High doesn't change, right? From, I think it's Malachi or Micah 3, chapter 6, or Malachi 3, chapter 6. The Most High doesn't change. So if he doesn't change, and he tells us in Deuteronomy 12, verse 1, that as long as we live on earth, we are supposed to observe these laws and rules, what changed? Absolutely nothing. The only thing that changed was the condition of our contract. We're under a curse right now, which is why it seems as if Jesus Christ kind of did away with some of these laws. And again, for the laws that it says in perpetuity or forever or as long as you live on, those are forever laws, right? So those don't go away. So with that thought in your mind, now we'll continue to verse 2. It says, "You must destroy all the sites at which the nations you are to dispossess worship their gods, whether on lofty mountains and on hills, or under any luxuriant tree. Tear down their altars, smash their pillars, put their sacred posts to the fire," that's the Asherah poles, what we consider a totem pole today, "and cut down the images of their gods, obliterating their name from that site." So essentially what the Most High wanted from his children was to completely annihilate, demolish, destroy any memorance, any memorial of the previous civilization that was there, right? What's the reason for that? It's so that his children, after they go into the land, they don't become entangled into the same snares and pitfalls that the people that were there previously, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Hivites, the Amorites, the Ammonites, all those people that they got caught up in, right? So we were disobedient and missing some of these minor details that the Most High told us to do, right? All right, and if you remember from the book of Samuel, when Saul is conquering the Amalekites, I want to say it was, that the Most High told him clearly, every man, woman, child, cattle, sheep, goat, everything, destroy it, annihilate it, don't let it live. But what did Saul do? He didn't do what the Most High said to the letter of the word, and they paid for it. And we are still paying for Saul's mistake today in 2024, right? And I say that because the Amalekites are still here. If you don't remember, the Amalekites, that was the group of people that, one, they descend from Esau, but two, they attacked the Israelites as they came across the Sea of Reeds after the Most High parted the sea for them and they crossed over on foot. They were the first group of people to kind of sneak attack the Israelites. And the Most High said, okay, go ahead and wipe them out. And a lot of people want to ask, well, why would God wipe out babies and women and innocent people? Those people weren't innocent. And it sounds weird saying it, but those people weren't even people in the way that you would think of people today, right? They were shapeshifters. They were into dark magic. They were into a whole bunch of stuff that was an abomination to the Most High, right? So we just have to have the correct understanding of why he told his people to do stuff, right? I don't know if they ask questions like, why are you telling us to kill the babies? Why are you telling? I don't know if they ask those questions. But I know now with the benefit of hindsight, why, right? If we listen to the Most High, just our listening and obeying his voice, that is so much better than finding out the hard way. But we are a stubborn and stiff-necked people. So what do? We have to find out the hard way, and we learn from our mistakes, and we learn through doing, and we learn through, trial and error, which is not the best way to learn. The best way to learn with the Most High is just listening to him, right? That's what the law is for. That's why the law is forever. Because if we would have listened to him originally, time and time again, starting with Adam, but after Adam, you can just go down the line of everybody who didn't listen to the Most High. If we were to listen to him, we wouldn't have the world that we live in today, where, you have essentially 2 or 3 people I know it's more than that, but 2 or 3 people running this country, America, and running the world, right? They got too much power, and they're all evil, and they're all into evil stuff, and they're all out for themselves or their own people, and don't care about the homeless, don't care about the aged, don't care about the widow, don't care about the orphan, don't care about the Israelites, don't care about organization, order, don't care about any of that. They just want chaos and calamity and materialism and just madness, right? So if we get the opportunity again and the Most High tells us to go wipe out the Amalekites, every sheep, goat, deer, turkey, whatever, we're going. Like, we can't miss the opportunity to just listen and serve the Most High correctly. All right, now verse 4 reads, "Do not worship the Lord your God in like manner, but only look to the site that the Lord your God will choose amidst all your tribes as his habitation, to establish his name there." So this is very clear instruction on where to offer your prayers and your sacrifices and your burnt offerings, right? They couldn't do it just anywhere. They were supposed to go to Jerusalem. That's eventually where the place that the Most High chose to put his name, represented by the Hebrew letter Shin, right? I do a whole video on that, showing where Jerusalem is and how it connects to the name, and how the Most High uses a play on words to tell us where Jerusalem is and the place that he chose to put his name. Verse 6, and it reads, "And there you are to go to bring your burnt offerings and other sacrifices, your tithes and your contributions, your votive and free will offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and flocks." So if you remember, instruction was given to Moses. It was given to Moses in the wilderness. This is before any temple was ever constructed, right? This is when they were still working with the tabernacle in the wilderness, the mobile one that they used to set up and break down every single time they used to move. So eventually, when King Solomon built the first temple, they had, storerooms for all of the extra stuff that they didn't sacrifice, or the storerooms for choice products of flour and meal and barley and wheat and all that stuff. They had places to kind of keep all of the tithes and offerings. Okay. Verse 7, "Together with all your household, you shall feast there before your Lord your God, happy in all the undertakings in which the Lord your God has blessed you." So we're supposed to have like a joyful feast, right? When we do our pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Kind of sounds to me like the Day of Atonement, like being foreshadowed right here. Continuing, verse 8, "You shall not act at all as we act now here, every man as he pleases, because you have not yet come to the allotted haven that the Lord your God is giving you." All right, similar thing going on today. Today, everybody kind of is doing their own thing. Everybody's chasing after religion, chasing after idolatry. We are living in captivity, whether you realize it or not. This whole system is Roman captivity, the way we do life right now. It's a whole nother topic. But yeah, so when we go back to the land, when we go back to Nevada and Utah, we have to fall in line with these laws, statutes, and judgments. And it's in our best interest to now be doing this stuff now, right? Why wait until you go home to set up a house, right? Let's get our house in order now. Get the rehearsal, the righteous rehearsal going now, so that we can have all of our crosses, our T's crossed, our I's dotted, have all our ducks in a row, if you will, right? When you cross the Jordan and settle in the land the Lord your God is allotting to you, and he grants you safety from all your enemies around you, and you live in security, then you must bring everything that I command you to the site where your Lord will choose to establish his name. So only after the Most High did his thing, gave us the land, settled us and all that stuff, then he was going to tell us where to go and make our pilgrimages to offer our burnt offering, sacrifices, and all that stuff. And then verse 12 reads, "And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God with your sons and your daughters, with your male and female slaves, along with the Levite in your settlements." Because remember, the families each had, Levites for certain districts, because we weren't traveling to church every Sunday. You needed a question solved, you would have a Levite within your encampment, right? Just so that detail is not lost. For he has no territorial allotment among you. All right. Verse 13, "Take not Take care not to sacrifice. Okay, this is a minor detail thing right here, but it's minor detail, major consequence. Take care not to sacrifice your burnt offerings in any place that you like, but only the place that your Lord will choose from you in one of your tribal territories. Right. What is that a foreshadowing of? That's a foreshadowing of religion and how we fell into idolatry. The Most High is telling us with this to take care, because our prayers are sacrifices. They're incense. They're offerings, right? We don't see it that way, but in the spiritual realm, that's how it is. So this is him telling them in their time, but also telling us today to watch who you pray to. Be very, very careful not to offer up your praise, your offering, your sacrifices in any altar, right? Continuing. There you shall sacrifice your burnt offerings, you shall observe all that I join upon you. But whenever you desire, you may slaughter and eat meat in any of your settlements according to the blessing that the Lord your God has granted you. The unclean and the clean alike may partake of it as the gazelle and the deer, but you must not partake of the blood. You shall pour it out on the ground like water, right? So the Israelites, they were never supposed to eat blood. Nobody's supposed to eat blood because the life of the flesh is in the blood. So if you're consuming somebody's blood, you're consuming their life essence, their it goes so deep. It's like you're almost drinking their spirit, their soul, right? Their essence. That's why we have to pour it out on the ground like water. That's why, I used to work in a restaurant, and most people, most African-American people, black people, Israelites, they automatically order their steaks well done every single time. And I think that's just ingrained in us. I think that's straight from the teaching of the Most High. That's the fear of the Most High. That's the fear of Yah. Just really in our hearts for real, right? Continuing, verse 17, you may not partake in your settlements of the tithes of your new grain or new wine or new oil. That, so the 10% that we're supposed to bring to the Most High, he didn't want us to have it. If we had to make a pilgrimage, set it aside until you went to go to that pilgrimage, whether it was once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year for the males. Until you went to Jerusalem, put your stuff aside and don't consume it, because it still is an offering, right? It says, these you must consume before the Lord your God in the place the Lord your God will choose. You and your sons and your daughters, your males and female slaves, and all the Levites in your settlements, happy before the Lord your God in all your undertakings. Be sure not to neglect the Levite as long as you live in your land. So the Most High is repeating himself now. He's saying, don't neglect the Levite, right? We read that before previously. And he's also saying to be happy before the Lord your God, right? Joy has definitely withered away from the sons of men. Why is that? It's because of the way this world has trained us, right? It has devoured our souls. We work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. We wake up, we work 12 hours, work another 3 or 4 if you got a side hustle, play with the children if you got children, and if you set aside time for that. And then it's right back to the grind. You get 2 days a week, maybe 2 days a week if you're lucky, for some time off. And usually we blow those 2 days with distractions, whether it's the club or whatever. Or, some people, they use that time, to catch up on stuff they didn't get time to do during the week, laundry, grocery shopping, cleaning the house, those type of things. I say all that to say this. Ahaya is very detailed, very, very detailed in the way that he wants us to serve him, in the way that he wants us to worship him. There's a reason why he said to tear down their sacred posts, their sacred pillars and everything like that. He doesn't want his children worshiping him in the way that the other nations worship their Elohim, right? He even tells us they will walk in the name of their gods, but we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever, right? All right, so that's Micah 4:5. But basically, we need to be happy when we're serving the Most High, right? Because he wants us to serve him with joy. He's providing everything for us. He gave us land. He gave us abundance. He gave us women that weren't barren. He gave us everything that we could want in reality, right? Not the stuff that's not real. He didn't give us an iPhone. He didn't give us a new Bugatti. He didn't give us Gucci glasses. He didn't give us that stuff. That stuff is the illusion, right? But what he gave us is things of value. Things that he created for us to interact with, explore, enjoy, for wonder and amazement and gratification and things like that. But we don't, in these days, we wouldn't know what to do in this world with no power, electricity, no iPhone, no social media. The society would not know what to do with itself. All right, continuing. Verse number 20. When the Lord enlarges your territory as he promised you, and you shall say, I shall eat some meat, for you have the urge to eat meat. You may eat meat whenever you wish. If the place where the Lord has chosen to establish his name is too far from you, you may slaughter any of the cattle or sheep the Lord your God gives you, as I have instructed you, and you may eat to your heart's content in your settlements. Right? So don't get this confused with an offering. This is consummation for yourself. This is different than an offering, right? But if you want to eat meat, go ahead and eat meat. Just slaughter it in the precise way that he told Moses, and Moses distributed to the Israelites, right? There's a way. There's not a humane way. I forget, halal maybe is the term. There's a correct way to slaughter the animal, so to have dignity for the animal, if that makes sense. All right, continuing. It says, eat it, however, as the gazelle and the deer are eaten. The unclean may eat it together with the clean, but make sure that you do not partake of the blood, for the blood is the life, and you must not consume the life with the flesh. You must not partake of it. You must pour it out on the ground like water. You must not partake of it. This is the second time he's saying it. So if he's saying it multiple times, he really wants you to get that point, right? Because the same thing is going on today. The same exact thing of people drinking blood. This is what all these celebrities do. Once they sign those contracts and sell their services to the world for the money and the fame and all that stuff, there's certain things, rituals that they have to do, and this is one of them. It's drinking blood, child sacrifice, burning their children in the fire. There's just so many different examples, and it was hidden for a very long time. I want to say in, I don't know, maybe like 2020 is like these people, they just stopped caring and they put everything on Front Street. It's not even hard anymore to kind of see what they're doing. They are doing the same practices that the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Hittites, all these people did already. It's the same stuff going on. Nothing has changed. They've just found a better way to hide themselves, found a better way to hide their practices, and kept us distracted while they were doing what they were doing, right? All right, continuing. But such a sacred and votive donations as you may have shall be taken by you to the site the Lord will choose. You shall offer your burnt offerings, both the flesh and the blood, on the altar of the Lord your God, and of your other sacrifices. The blood shall be poured out at the base or at the altar of the Lord your God, and you shall eat the flesh. Be careful to heed all these commandments that I enjoin upon you. Thus it will go well with you and with your descendants after you forever, for you will be doing what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. So this is very, very specific. You do this stuff, you're good forever. He says it right here. Just listen to these commandments. I know it seems so silly to us today. You do these offerings, you take these steps, and you will continue to live in abundance on the land that I provided for you. It's almost like, wow, that's all they had to do? Yes, that is literally all they had to do. But when you have all of the distractions of the world being brought to your front door, right? Instant gratification over and over again. I guarantee you that they dealt with that, right? Why would you stop celebrating the Sabbath day? Why would you stop clinging and cleaving to Ahaya when he does miracles for you all the time? Time and time again in the Hebrew Bible, we can see miracle after miracle after miracle when they were living in the land and in good standing with the Most High, right? David had mighty men. Those mighty men had superpowers. That's a miracle, right? Supernatural to us in this time. Elijah called down fire from heaven. Literally, just, if I'm a man of God, may fire come down, kill these people. Boom, right? 50 people killed. All right, finishing up. So it says in verse 29, when the Lord your God has cut down before you the nations that you are about to enter and dispossess, and you have dispossessed them and settled in their land, beware of being lured into their ways after they have been wiped out before you. Do not inquire about their gods, saying, how did these nations worship their gods? I too will follow those practices. You shall not act thus toward the Lord your God, for they perform for their gods every abhorrent act that the Lord detests. They even offer up their sons and daughter in fire to their gods. And then I'm just going to read the first verse of chapter 13, because it seems like it fits with verse 12. And it says, be careful to observe only that which I enjoin upon you, neither add to it nor take away from it. Okay,